right. Well, I'm sure y'all know us, but we're going to go ahead and I'm going to introduce us. And my name's Karen Goebel. I'm a program coordinator with Digital Learning, and we also have Emily and Kaylee, and we have a special guest who's going to start. She's going to join in. I mean, she's already on. We have Brandy from ClearTouch. She is our rep that's servicing our district. So, okay, so somebody's saying they can't hear. You may have to go out and come back in because I know most people are hearing because they've been answering my questions, but Chase, might need to go out and try coming back in. Or is that what a suggestion? I mean, if you can't hear me, it probably doesn't do me any good. Thank you, Kaylee. I was gonna say, probably need to type
I
that.
was just
Okay.
about to type, thinking they will not be able to hear that explanation.
Yes, but Brandy is our ClearTouch representative, and she's going to talk towards the end of our webinar and join us because she is working with us, and I believe it's through November or December of this year. So we have her pretty much the rest of this year, and she's going to be offering a lot of classes this summer. We actually have 4 different levels of classes that we have created on ClearTouch. So we've got something for everyone, including what we're really proud of too is one of ours is going to be a make and take session where you will work with Brandy. She's going to help you develop lessons and create them so you've got them ready to go in the fall when you come back. So we're real excited about that one as well. All right, so I'm going to get started. And so first of all, when you think about the name is going to change, but that's going to probably be later into fall, but they are going to just start calling it Chorus versus Snowflake. But for right now, you probably see some of the changes because one of them that you're going to see, and I'm going to get out of this for just a second. I'm going to go to my dashboard. One of the changes you probably already noticed, and we've had a few people text us or email us and talk to us because they're like, I can't find Snowflake on the dashboard. So one thing is it has changed to NuiTech Chorus. And I believe if you just type in Chorus, I'm going to try that and see if that does it. Yes. So when you see, and you just type in the word Chorus, so they are changing it to just be called Chorus, the whole app. It's not going to just be called Snowflake anymore. That's a change that's coming, but it's already hit our dashboard. And they've changed it by changing the icon that is on there. As you can see, I've got mine pinned down here, and I'm going to show you how to do that. One thing you want to do when you want to pin something is you can type it in right here, but then don't click to open it. Once you type it in, you're going to place your cursor on top of the icon and you're going to right click. Now mine says remove from favorites because I've already added it. This is a tip I love to share anytime I can because adding it down here at the bottom makes it so easy for you. You don't have to type it. It's just always going to be at the bottom. This is one I would put at the bottom along with maybe Skyward and other apps that you're constantly in. But where it says here, it will say add to favorites. You'll just click on that and it will add it to the bottom of your dashboard. Okay, and we have a little picture here because that's what it will say. But the key to doing this is you cannot click on the icon because once you click on it, it will launch the icon. So all you've got to do is place your cursor on top, and then you're going to right click and say add to favorites. Now, eventually your app on your panel will also change to this, but that's not going to happen probably until the fall. So right now it is still on your panel, it will still show the Snowflake app or the little icon. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about, let me make this big for just a second, is there's 2 differences with Chorus. Okay, you see here, they're the exact same app, except there are a few things you can do on the desktop or the dashboard version that you cannot do here. And I think, I'm trying to remember if Brandy talks about polls in this one, but so the one that you see here on my right-hand side of the presentation, this is what shows on your panel, all right? And the important thing when you launch this on your panel, and I've seen this in several campuses that I've gone to, when I go onto their board and we launch it, I notice right up here in the top left corner of that panel that they're not signed in. This is important because when you talk about what Kaylee and Emily are about to show you with learning how to create your own lessons, you're going to do that from the dashboard app. But to get to them on your panel, if you're not signed in right here, you're not going to be able to find those lessons that you have created, okay? Because they're not going to be in your My Lesson activity. The other thing is when you're on your computer and you launch, and I think I did launch it already. Yep. When you launch Chorus, the thing that we notice a lot is that people immediately see the search bar right here and they just start searching for lessons. And then they get frustrated because they can't find any lessons. So to search for lessons, you do have to click on Community to find all of the lessons. So I did want to point that out. That's another difference that you'll see. The other thing is, oops, let me go back here, is you'll see that you also have the ability to add and share lessons with your students, and you have the ability to create polls. These are two things that you can't do from the panel, all right? But we have lots of classes coming up this summer where we're going to show you how to create those polls. We're going to talk to you about all of this stuff. So be watching for that when they release the playlist. Okay, and the other thing I was going to show real fast right here is when it does launch, this is what your icon will look like on the panel, but this is going to be in the start of next school year, sometime in August, and then it's going to get a little refresh on your panel. It's not going to be anything big, but it'll just be a few changes, more aesthetics that they're changing, not really the functionality. It will still do all of those same things, but there will be just some slight little changes there. Okay, I'm going to, I think that's all I had to share and talk about. I'm getting ready. Let me unshare here, and I'm going to let, I believe it's Kaylee that is next. There you go, Kaylee.
Make sure I share the right thing.
I know, that can get tricky.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about lesson creation, and we're going to focus on groups. And then Emily's going to focus on one of our other favorite lesson activities, and I'll let her talk about that later. But groups is one of my favorites because they have to take images or statements and images and statements and move them into groups. They have to classify them or sort them. And so I really love this. It's a little bit higher order of thinking skills, but I just put in a couple of different ones. So we've got some math fractions here. There's an ELA one on utopian and dystopian societies. We have the science food chain, and we have social studies branches of government. And all of these are clickable for you to access them. But I already have one pulled up, and it looks like this. So mine is on 8th grade social studies, which is Lincoln's famous speeches. And so basically what students do is they have to click and drag these. And so you'll see it automatically tells students if they get it right or wrong. And I'm not even paying attention to what I'm doing here.
She's a social studies teacher.
I know. So terrible. I'm not even reading them. So you can automatically see that you're getting it right or wrong. So I love that intermediate. Oh
Love the
my gosh, I
feedback.
can't talk today. That automatic feedback. Okay. And then what we can do is we can always move something back out and move things around. Okay. So I really love this as far as groups. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to create one. And so I'm just going to click on the three lines here next to the group's title. And I'm going to go to My Lesson Activities. Okay. And then I'm just going to click Create a Lesson. Now, Karen did show you that you can click up here and go to Lesson Activity. And you can do that as well. They work the same way. Okay. I'm going to say Create a Lesson Activity. And then here are all the different types of lesson activities you can create. We're going to create a group today. And so one of the first things you need to do is give it a name. Okay. And so I'm trying to move the little bar because I cannot see all the rest of my tabs. Let's see here. Here we go.
And
All right,
now, while you're moving that, make sure y'all click on that link for prizes because it didn't look like very many had filled it out.
That's right. So I like to kind of plan out what I'm going to put. And so this is my title right here. And so I find it just easier to copy and paste. And so you'll notice in my title that I have put the standard here, and I normally put it in parentheses with a TX. And so this is 5th grade, 5A. And then one of the first things you're going to do is say create group. Now, tip that I learned while doing all of this is if I come back here, I want World War I to be at the top because it happened first. So I actually put that in last. So I'm going to scroll down here and World War II is going to be the last thing that I cover in this activity. So I'm just going to copy that over. Okay, now this is my group. And then all of the statements that are going to be inside of World War I are going to go in these little areas right here. So I'm just going to copy this over.
So just to clarify, Kaylee, if I want it to be at the bottom, do I do it first or last?
Sorry, I am having issues here with my screen. Can you say that again?
So if I want it to show up at the bottom, do I do it first or do I do it last?
I do it first.
You'll do it first. Okay.
You're doing things in opposite order.
So the water fills up.
That's right. You're going to kind of think of it. That's kind of why I put it in this document, not only because I'm copy and pasting for faster reference here, but also because I needed to plan that out so I know what comes first, what comes second, what comes third. So starting at the bottom, okay, World War II. Now, to create that next one, I just hit the enter on the keyboard and it'll create that next line for me. You can see that it's building as I go. Okay. So I'm gonna do 2 just to shorten this time a little bit. Okay. And so once I have in all of my statements here, then I can say create group. And so notice here's that second group. Okay, and I believe that one was the Great Depression. Okay. I'm going to hit enter again. Okay, so you'll notice that over here on the side, it starts to build that. Okay, and then I would just do create group again, and then there's my last one. I don't spell today either.
So I guess the key to remember on this one is that when you're creating these groups is you have to, like Kaylee did, plan it out and make sure what you want at the top you put in last.
Yeah, and it didn't take too much time for me to plan it out because I
No.
just really looked at, the TEKS clarification guide and pulled things in of like, oh, these are the things that my students need to know concerning this standard.
Mhm.
And so then I just like copy and paste it and put it all in. It just helped me to kind of organize my thoughts. And that's me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's not something anybody else has to do. But okay, so once I have these in, okay, let me go ahead and enter. All right, so there it builds it. I can play it inside of here just to make sure it works the way I want. Okay, I can also change the font. Okay, I'm gonna just leave it at Montserrat, but I can also change the size. So if things, now notice when I change the size, not all of the words fit. So that's something to pay attention to is play around with that to make sure that everything you want on the tile stays on the tile.
Mm.
And then I can always put in a background. I like this background, so I'm just gonna leave it. If I wanted to upload a background, I could click here and find one. But the big thing for me when creating a group is that things will be in order unless I check right here where it says rules and change it to randomized. Once I have it randomized, they're not going to be in order. Okay.
Mm.
So, like you'll see, Woodrow Wilson was president. Okay. It's down here at the bottom, but it goes up here. So, it's not going to be in order now, it'll be randomized. Okay. You can add a timer for a timed thing. When my students are first doing this, I don't like to have a timer. Okay. The other thing you want to do is then click on lesson activity info. You always have to give it a description. Okay. So make sure you give it a title, make sure you give it a description. Okay. My big thing here, I'm going to move this one back real quick, is I like to take a screenshot and add the screenshot here. So I'm just going to do a screenshot shortcut real quick so you can see how I do that. Okay. And then I just say add screenshot and it hasn't quite loaded in here yet. Oh, wait, because I need to go down right here. There it is. And so now it adds it. That is becomes the tile that you'll find in your lesson activities. Okay, so I like to take a screenshot so I know what is in that activity and what that activity looks like.
Mm.
Okay, I can add in a YouTube video before, but I also want to make sure I add in the ages and the subject so that other people can find it, including other Klein. Oh yeah, it's under history here. English. I'm going to leave all this, but then keywords so that my teammates can find this. One of the things I always include is the grade level. So this is 5th grade. I include the subject. Okay, I include Texas, and I include Klein ISD. And then any other tags. So like I would say 20th century on this one. Okay. And then another big one is to add the standards. I find it super easy to find these once I've added the standard. And that's just clicking add standard and then scrolling to find Texas. And then I'm going to find social studies and grade 5. And sometimes I just search in the search box. And this is the one I want right here. So it added it right at the top. And then I can just click save. And now I'm ready to, send it to my students. I can save it to the community so that other Klein teachers can find it, or I can just go back to my lesson activities. Okay, so that is a quick overview of creating a group. Okay, now if I were to go back to our slide deck. I've shown you this. Let me just go back to the slideshow real quick. Is I've given you this video of how to create one in case I went too fast for you. I also gave you that Lincoln's famous speech that I started off with. And then I also gave you a picture of how you create the group. So you'll notice if I want north at the top and south at the bottom, I have to start with south first. Okay. And then I think that was all I had for mine. And I think Emily's going to show us how to do another type of lesson activity.
Okay, let me unmute. Okay, and share. Okay, okay, I want to make sure I share correctly. After our extensions webinar, I'm always kind of scared now. All right, so I'm going to do my window. Okay. All right. So I'm going to come over. I'm actually going to be showing you a range, and I will start. Oh, here is one example. Now, a range is great for showing things in sequential order or for showing timelines. And so you can see I do have a line here, and this is just one example. So counting by twos, and the students then move the tiles in the sequential order. And so it does show accuracy. So I'm going to put an incorrect answer. Oh, and I don't know, can you hear that noise? Oh, you all can't hear. It makes the most satisfying little noise when I get it correct and wrong, a little ding and a little boing, I guess, when it's incorrect, but doesn't send it back, but the kid can then try again. I like that with groups, or sorry, not groups, with a range, I can do various different rounds. So I can press next. So then I'm counting by fives, counting by tens, and then the kids can restart. And so now I'm going to show you how to create that. So I am going to start. So I am just in the community. I'm going to go ahead and press create, and I'm going to go to lesson activity. And I am doing an arrange. So here it says place items in order. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And just like Kaylee said, it is really important to do a lesson name. And I will show you, let's see if I have it open. This is my lesson activities. If I scroll down, you see all these lessons that I've started that are unnamed. And so this is why it's really important to give your lessons names. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a bunch.
So don't be an Emily. Don't be an Emily.
And I will say, Emily, you can also see that because you didn't get very far in creating those, you didn't create that screenshot. So you just get that blank computer and you have no idea what that is, right?
Yes. And so you don't, like, who knows what these are? I'm sure I was testing different things, but now my library of lesson activities I've created is now kind of a mess. And so I could always go in and I can delete them, or I can go in and I just click on it, I can edit the lesson as well. And this one looks like I haven't even started it. Okay, but I'll go back and, okay, so I'm going to do one. This is a 4th grade science teak on soil water retention. And so they are ranking the water retention of different soils. So if I want to do different rounds, you're going to create a group. And so for each group is going to be a different round. And then the content is going to be, this is the type of material that they're going to rank. And so I'm not actually going to see this word soil on here, but this is just for me to know that this is what they are ranking. And so I'm just going to list out. So I have clay. If I press enter, I get another content that can be added. So I have clay, loam, silt, let's see, sand, and gravel. Now, they're really hard to see because they are so small. So I'm immediately going to come over to the right-hand side, and I'm going to press the size, and I'm going to go from small, and I'm going to go to XXL, and we'll see that. Yep, I can still read them. I can try one larger and see, oh, no, gravel, it was too big, and for loam, too big. So I'm going to bring it back down because I do want my students to be able to read it. And I can change the theme. So I'm going to go for maybe a garden theme, kind of dirt themed. But I want to add some pictures. I want my students to not just read the words, but get some hints. So I'm going to come over to sand, and I've already done a background for my whole activity, but I want to add individual backgrounds to the tiles. So I'll show you all how to do this. So I click background. I could have a picture saved to my device. I could do an online image search, pull from my drive, or go to OneDrive. I'm just going to do the online image search. And it's going to automatically search for whatever I had typed in there. So I'm going to go ahead and click one of the pictures of sand. And notice it filled in here almost everything, but I want to choose a fit that fills the entire tile. So I'm going to click over here and do choose a fit, and I'm just going to do fill. And notice now it is completely filled, and I could add an image for each of these. I can also add a sound to give a hint so that if students click on it, they can hear a sound, or I can, this is if it's on your computer already, I can open something or open the file, or I can record. I'm not sure, I'll have to press allow. Yep, so then I just press, so I'm not sure if it'll work. Sand, I stop it. I can hear it. I press save, and now the sound has been added. Okay, oh, and I do see that name soil at the top. So you do see the name of the group. Now, what's really important is my students need to know what is the ranking. And so I do need to come over to customize content, and I am going to say the least on the left, and on the right, I'm going to say the most. Notice it's not updating. It does not update until you scroll down and you click update preview. So you do have to click that for it to change. Now, I know that clay is actually the most, has the most water retention. So I am going to have to reorder these. So I can click and drag the markers to choose where these items are going to lay on the line. And so now that I've reordered them, I'm going to click update preview. And if I want to play the activity, I can then go ahead and press play, and I can demo it out. And so now I can move. So gravel is the least water, has the least amount of water retention. I'll put sand right here. Oh, sand, that was incorrect. Incorrect. Oh, right here. Oh, and you heard it when I click on it.
No.
Okay. Now, if I realize
we can't hear it.
Y'all can't
You didn't
hear
share
it.
your
I
computer
think you didn't
audio,
share your, yeah.
I didn't share my sound, but when you click on it, you do hear it. Now, if I realize I had made a mistake, I could press the 3 lines here and go back and edit, which I really like, so that you can always go back and fix any of your mistakes. If I go to our slide deck, you do see I kind of have labeled each of the items that you will need to create your arrange lesson. And I also have a video here that goes through how to create it. Okay, I am going to now hand it off to Brandy so that she can share about how to open and find lesson activities on the panel.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to share my entire screen, but it's not giving me that option. Is there something I'm doing wrong?
Does it say window? Does there one that says window?
Okay, we'll do window
Click-
then.
Yeah, click window and then.
Any pop-ups are not going to show up in your window, though.
Can you all see Snowflake?
I can
Well,
see the corner,
it's
the
real zoomed
view where
in.
it says screenshot back and exit.
Okay, hold on.
And
So
while
it's
she,
doing it will share the little corner cue that's in the center, but it doesn't give me the option to share the Snowflake program. Like once I select this and go back.
so then you can't be in window if it's a program.
There's one that's entire screen. Try that one.
Okay, let's try that one. Can we see Snowflake now?
That's it.
Yes, that's
Yay.
All
it.
right, thank you. All right, hello everyone. It's nice to see you all, or kind of see you all. I'm just going to show you all what they've done on Chorus Online, how that you can pull those things up here in the Snowflake program. As it was mentioned before, if you go to your lesson activities app on your Spindle, make sure that you are signed in the top left corner. If you are not signed in, you will not be able to access the things that were on your Snowflake.live. So Karen showed in that first, on one of the slides, the difference between how lesson activities look on your computer when you're on Chorus Online versus how they look here. So again, you search in the community, you can search by standards here. And then when you go to My Lesson Activities, downloaded are the ones that I found on the panel, and I click play on the panel. But now, because I'm signed into my Snowflake.live or Course Online account, I can toggle over here and see the ones that I created on my Snowflake.live account. One thing that I did learn, because I searched for lesson activities that Kaylee made. One thing I learned, if the person creating them made them on Snowflake.live, even if I find it on my panel and I click play and download it on my panel, it will still be under Snowflake.live because I believe it starts with where it was created and not where you click play.
Interesting.
I'm
Oh,
hoping that
good
makes
tip.
sense.
No.
Because like here, I went to the community and I searched by email, which that's a really easy way for you all to search if you're looking for your cohort lesson activities that they
Yeah.
found. I just typed in the beginning of your email, Kaylee, the K with your last name and 1, and then it showed me all the ones that you created. And then I clicked play on those, and I expected them to be under downloaded, but they were under Snowflake.live because you made them on Snowflake.live. So
I say
again,
that
it
one
is
looks
really
really
important
familiar.
on your panel to make sure that you are signed in. And then you're able to access those lesson activities and play them with your students. So you can create them at home, create them on your computer, and still access and play those lesson activities from your panel if you would like to. Okay.
I like that.
All right. The next thing we'll look at are zones. So again, zones are a way that you're able to split your panel into multiple screens. You can see zones here on your spindle. You can also access zones from your corner Q menu, either one, whichever one works best for you. So if I go here, the house is my default zone. That means it's just one screen. I have 2, I can split my panel into 2, 3 that are right next to each other. A lot of teachers really like this for students being able to stand next to each other at the panel and play different lesson activities. You have these 4 here. You're not going to use these on your panel. These are for the panels in the libraries that go tabletop flat. You also have this plus symbol here, and this is how you get to additional configurations. And if you want to split your panel into 4, then you're going to choose this zone configuration here. One zone that the program coordinators really like is this
Oh, we
zone.
love it.
So this is where you're able to open up something at the top and then 3 or 2 other zones at the bottom. I really like this configuration as well, but what I like to do from your corner Q is you can go corner Q and then you can adjust your zones. So I like to move it up a little bit, click save, and it makes that one a little bit smaller, but most times if you're having things down here, you need a little bit more space. So up here, we can put chorus. Down here, let's open up 2 lesson activities. And again, each zone operates as its own Snowflake program, so they don't interact with the 2 unless you want them to, but they are all independent. As you can see, they all have their own set of corner Q menus, so they all can do their own thing. So up here at the top, you can give your students directions. Down here at the bottom, you can have your different lesson activities, or it doesn't have to be lesson activities. You can have a YouTube video for your students to watch. Then a lesson activity you can choose. You have a lot of different options with that. The last thing I'll show you is that with each zone, you can save the layout. So if I go again to my corner Q menu, and for this, it doesn't matter which corner Q you choose, and I select zones again, you can see here, I've created a zone from earlier, and I saved that layout. So I used these 2 videos, the 3 branches of government and the Industrial Revolution, and then I can go down here to my lesson activities. And sometimes you have to like toggle back and forth. So I can play this lesson activity that Kaylee created with the branches of government. After my students watch this video, they can play this lesson activity. And then the same thing with this one. I can toggle over here. They can watch this one on the Industrial Revolution. and then they can play this lesson activity. And these are the two types of lesson activities that you all both learned how to use. So you can
I
go ahead
love that. So
these.
cool.
And the good thing about this is if you're teaching the same subject or the same topic for multiple classes, you don't want to have to go in and set up each zone each time. You would rather be able to set it up once at the beginning of the day or the beginning of one of your class periods, go to your corner cue, select zones, save that current layout, and then let the panel set it up for you. So for example, if I started here at my default home layout, I can just go to zones, click here, and then the panel will set it up for me, and I only have to do it once.
I love
Now,
that
I did
because
it.
a
No,
lot
go
of
ahead,
times people set up their stations for the whole week so they could have that
Right.
zone, those zones set up like that. That's so cool.
Correct.
Mhm.
And I have
Correct.
to
You
say,
can
I
have
love
up to 12 layouts saved. So you can do however many layouts, however many configurations work for you and your students. So you don't have to just create one. So I would suggest that if you know there's different
Mhm.
activities you want to do with different configurations, just go ahead and set them all up at once, and then they're ready for you whenever you want.
Yeah.
I was just
I
at a
love, Brandy,
school,
that you set this
Primal
up.
Intermediate, and they're going to be doing a review for STAR, and I showed them how they can set up zones. They're going to move their panels down to the library, and each panel is going to have different zones. They know how to save the layout. Each teacher is going to create a different configuration, and the students are going to rotate with all the panels and do a review. So you can get really creative. I really like their idea and their setup for that. So you can get really creative when it comes to zones and saving your layouts and doing things with your students. Okay.
I like the way that you put the directions at the top in green
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
people focus more there 1st
Mhm.
before going to the
Right.
lesson activities.
Mhm.
How did you do
Do you
that,
mind
Brandy?
showing
How did you
people?
make
Yeah.
that? I was about to say, how
Yeah.
did you make that green?
I just went to, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger just so y'all can see it. It looks different now. You can't see the videos because I've made it full screen, but if you go to your up menu here and then go to background, I just changed the background color. Or if you like to, you can add a picture, you can pull something from your content gallery, do an internet search, or if you have something saved on your drive or on your panels folders, you can do that. I added a text box here. And I only did a text box because I'm doing this on my computer. If I was on my panel, I probably would have just written it in, but I couldn't write. It actually looked good on the computer. So I just added a text box in, and then you're able to type whatever you need to in your text box. And then, but I would recommend if you're going to do this in that configuration, leave it out of full screen just so you can see what it's supposed to look like. And then I went
Yeah.
for the videos into the media browser, YouTube, and then selected those two videos for them to watch.
I think people forget about that little up button and that
Mhm.
background and the grids and all the things they can do. There's just so much you can do with these panels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And even that full screen, if the kids want to do the activities
Mhm.
individually, start if they were working all together, that might be
You can
great
move it over.
to
Right.
just have a bigger view, bringing those activities full screen and kind of
Mhm.
going through them.
True.
Mhm.
I like that. So if
Mhm.
you, even if like Emily's mentioning, if your students can't see that well with that zone configuration, you're not stuck in it. If you need one zone to be full screen, so maybe your students have watched the video and then they're going to do this lesson activity together, you can full screen and your students can focus on this one zone, and then you can leave full screen and then they can go to the next one. So that
Mhm.
it doesn't have to stay in the zone just because you're in the zone. You can still full screen things.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good idea.
Let me just share. I want to make sure I covered everything. Okay.
Yeah, I think the last thing was just the Clear Touch experience thing, right?
Yes. Oh, share.
Well, I could, yeah,
Karen, do
you
you
can
want to
share
share
it,
that?
or I can share it, Brandon. You can talk if you want.
Yeah,
Let me
that's
see.
fine.
Let me see if I can get back to it now.
Because
So
then you're going
Karen
to
is
do
Yes,
going
a
to share
Karen
Hold
is
on.
this.
I've
our
got the
wheel spinner.
prizes. I've
We
got the
need
wheel.
Karen to
I will
share.
be doing the wheel here in a minute, but yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you were just talking about the zones and all that. And as Kaylee said, we've also got videos connected. So if you have our link to our presentation, you can always get back and watch that. But okay, right here. So there you go,
You're going to
Brandy.
just take a picture of this QR code. If you've not had a chance to, definitely sign up for the ClearTouch experience. Here you can find more information about zones. You can find more information about all the lesson activity types, including the 2 that Emily and Kaylee highlighted tonight. I definitely recommend going on there, just checking it out, watching a few videos to further explain a few things. It'll break down how to create all the different lesson activity types, which kind of are the type that Kaylee went over is self-checking, same as Emily, but there are some that are not self-checking, so you can see all the different types for the ones that you want to create.
And what's so cool is, like we were saying at the very beginning, Brandy's going to be doing we've got 4 different levels this summer, and I'm really excited about that make and take one, where, like you said, they can come and learn how to do groups with you, or do the arrange, or do any of them. So they have somebody there to help them if they get stuck. But yeah, that's going to be very exciting to have those this summer.
Yes, definitely come hang out with me. Don't leave me there at KMPC alone.
No, don't leave her at KMPC alone, because because there's so much you can do, and we know that this year was an interesting year. We had so many new technology things that we were trying to learn, and now that we've had a whole almost a year with this, let's take it up to the next level. So take advantage of those classes and see how you can up your game with this panel, because there's just so much you can do that we just barely scratched the surface tonight.
I will say for sure, I started working with these panels about 3 years ago, and I am still learning new things. I learn new things from Brandy all the time. I learned some new stuff tonight.
I know.
About the
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like we are just scratching the surface with everything that these panels and their software can do. So definitely look at those ClearTouch sessions for the summer.
Those will be launching, I think what was the date they told us today? They can start at May 6th. Is it 6th? 5th or 6th?
It was
somewhere around there. We'll have to go look at our notes, because we had that, but starting at the beginning of May, I think it's the 6th, but I might be wrong. But you can start registering the playlist. They're going to launch the playlist, but you won't be able to actually register for the classes until the beginning of May. I think in April sometime they're launching the playlist, but there's going to be a lot. Now we're excited because tonight in our prize
May
the 6th.
May,
Yeah, I was
May
right.
6th.
May 6th. That's right. Okay.
Memory care.
I know. I can't believe it. Okay, this has been a crazy week for me. But anyway, all right. So let's start.
Karen, before we spin,
already did.
Okay, that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and just stop the recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna stop the recording. Yes. Okay, so let me stop that, and then thank you all for attending.